Okay, Jacobo. Sometimes it tells you which way you have to do it. To me, this problem would actually be easier with elimination, but even then, it's still kind of ugly. So we're going to do, this one's kind of ugly for both, so we're going to do both substitution and elimination with the same problem. But neither one you can just start with, like the last ones we did. Remember on the last ones, to do substitution, well, it was already solved. So all you had to do was plug it in, right? And then, actually, this was the one right here, I'm sorry. So one of them was already solved for y.
Yeah.
If it was solved for x, still just as easy, you just substitute for x. But this isn't solved for anything.
Yeah.
So we have to pick something to solve for. And this is where people are like, well, how did you get that?
That's what I was referring.
You make a choice. You pick something. So you can pick either x or either y. You just pick one, the one that you think is easiest.
Just straight off the bat, I need to solve for x.
So yeah, so you're going to solve for x or y. You pick, and then you pick whichever of those is easiest. When I look at this, I think this is the easy one. Because it has a coefficient of 1. It's just being multiplied by 1. So I think solving for this would be easy. Because in order to substitute, you have to have like either x equals a number or like a something, right? Or you have to have y equals something that you can substitute. Yeah. So we need one of those two things before we can substitute. We can't substitute yet. So do you understand why you're going to pick something and then solve? You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah? No? Yeah? Yeah? Vanessa, you sure? You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Because you seem tired. I'm tired.
I'm tired.
It's been, yeah, I know. I'm
It's been
tired
a long
too.
day.
I bet. Me too.
Pick one.
So let's just make sure, because I want to make sure you understand the step before we do it. Because if you don't understand why we're doing it, it doesn't matter if you understand what happened. If you don't know why, you won't be able to figure out how to do it on your own later. So Jackie, we got to get x by itself or y by itself, either one, so that we can like replace in the other equation that value. So we pick the easy one like this, and this one, like to solve that, don't you just have to subtract 8y? Like to solve this one, wouldn't that just be 6 minus 8y? Wouldn't that be x right there? Because you would just subtract 8y from both sides. That's supposed to be a y. It's a y from the upside down.
6.
Wait, what's the y?
That was. It was kind of ugly.
6y?
8y.
Oh, 8.
Okay.
So we good?
Pick one.
So all we've done, and it doesn't matter, we could have picked this one to solve for or one of the y's to solve for. We just picked something, we solved for it. Now we know what x equals. X equals that. So we pick the other equation, right? And we substitute. So we're going to substitute. So here's what's going to...
That's x right there, 6 minus 8y?
Yep, that's what x equals. In the other problem, it would have already given you that.
You don't add 8y to both sides?
Now you solve for x, that's all you're trying to do.
Just isolate x, right?
Yeah. So since that's what x equals, right? X is 6 minus 8y. Substitute. Right? And then distribute. 12 minus 16y plus 4y equals negative 3. And now it's just solving. So from there it's not new. From there it's the same. What are you doing, Jackie?
I think my sister knows that I'm done.
You have a sister?
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, she's outside.
Oh. So 12, and then you subtract those two, right? Equals negative 3. Negative 12y equals, we have to subtract 12 from both sides. That's negative 15, right? A fraction, Sam. But it is Halloween. But it's a fraction that's a negative divided by a negative. Oh my gosh.
Wait, wouldn't it be... Wait.
We can reduce that by 3, huh? Can we reduce that by 3? We can, and it's a negative divided by a negative, right? So that's positive. That's 5 over 4. That's it. That's y. Y is 5 over 4. So y equals 5 over 4. Salud, salud. He's allergic to negative fractions.
This is so
What? So you know what we're going to do with the next?
No.
You don't? Don't we need to know what x is? We have y, so we just got to plug it in. Now you have to do math with a fraction. Oh man. It doesn't matter where you plug it in. Let's plug it into this one though, because I think that's easier. Okay? So, no, let's plug it in. We're solving, like this is y, right? This is y. So, watch what happens when I plug it into this one right here. Watch. Watch what happens. It's like a Disney moment. Yeah, like just magically something's going to happen and it's all going to be beautiful and wonderful because you can do that thing that begins with an R and ends with a deuce.
And a deuce?
Not drop a deuce, no. We can reduce. You see 4 goes into 4 one time, so you have 2x plus 5 equals negative 3. It reduced. No more fraction. 2x equals negative 8. So x equals negative 4. So your answer, negative 4 and 5/4. That's your answer. ¿Qué onda, Sonia?
Ya lo agarré. That's the answer, pues negative 4 over.
That's the answer, pues, yes. Ha. That is the
I'm
answer.
super contra, I'm like just looking how this is.
Well, don't worry about the steps. Seriously. That's when you get in trouble. Think of the idea. The idea is this. We're substituting. So all we're going to do is we have to figure out what does either x equal or y equal. And then we substitute that in. And then we solve for the other letter. And then we have a number. So we'll know the other letter equals a number. Then we take that number and plug it back in and solve for the other letter. That's it. So it's really only 3 steps. Like you're looking at all this and seeing steps. But if we were to do 5 plus 4 minus 3 times 2, how many steps is that?
1.
That's 1 step to me. It's just combining all of that. And that's kind of how you're seeing this. You're seeing this as a whole bunch of steps. And each one you have to think about, but there's only like 3 things to keep track of. We're isolating and then substituting and solving and then resubstituting. That's the idea.
Okay.
Isolate, so we're going to get one of these by itself, and then we're going to substitute it. So you see we got one of them by itself right here. And then we took that and we substituted it. And then we cleaned this up so that we could solve for y. That's what we did here. And then we took that answer for y and we put it back in, like right here. You see? We put it for y, and then we cleaned that up and we solved for x.
3 different, that's how I saw 3 different
3 different kind of things. Yeah.
ways or steps. I
Yeah.
don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah. Now, if you guys like to, if you're comfortable seeing this as like 14 steps and you understand, then that's fine. But to me, that in my experience, when I see something and I see a lot of steps, it's just simpler for me if I can just kind of put those steps together in one idea. Yeah, like this is what I'm doing. You know how to solve, because we did that, and there's a lot of that going on. Okay, Eminem, that was a substitution with the ugly case from the upside down because it is Halloween, and this is hell, not math class. Now we're going to do the same one. We're going to do it with elimination. Same problem now, okay? Listo, Alex? Okay, we're going to do the same one with elimination. X más 8y. All right, Alex, focus, focus. Almost done. I know it's been a long day. Okay.
Have you heard?
Huh?
Well, have you heard that double in the HE double bond pieces?
I guess not.
Really? Oh my gosh! No, where did it came from? I don't remember. I heard it before, not before.
You said that too fast.
What is the HE double
I've heard it, but I
bond
think I heard it from a movie.
Oh, yeah, I have heard it.
What is HE double bond pieces?
Right, because hell's a bad word, right?
You can't, they didn't want to say
Well,
it
I
or
know
something.
what
I
you're
think that's
referring
what the...
It's not really a bad word.
No.
It's not. This is a bad word, not really. Okay. So.
I was like waiting for it. Like,
Well, okay. So speaking of bad words, then we'll do this. This is kind of interesting to me. Like the really bad words in English are not as bad in Spanish, but the really bad words in Spanish aren't really that bad in English.
True.
Like they'll be inappropriate, but it's like
It's true.
it's not a big deal.
Brush it off.
Like there's male body parts that are really bad words in Spanish, but in English it's like shut up. Right? Like your mother wouldn't slap you more than likely if you said those words translated directly into English. But like the F-bomb in Spanish is not really that big of a deal. It translates different, right? Okay. So Alex, you know that with eliminating we just try to add these together to get rid of a letter, right? So like the goal when you're eliminating is to add the equations to eliminate a letter, a variable.
And then the other one is to get a number, right?
Right. Well, yeah. Like you want to get one of the letter variables by itself. So like it would be equal to y equals something times x and whatever, right? So like this is how you start. This is what you want to do to start with. For elimination, you try to add the two equations together to get rid of something. But when I look at this, if I add these together, that's 3x. That's 12y. Nothing went away. So we can't add yet. We have a step we have to do first. We have to get rid of either x or we have to get rid of y. And we're going to do it by multiplying one of the equations by something. So you can pick which letter to get rid of. You can pick I want to get rid of x, or you can pick I want to get rid of y. Now here's the thing. If I wanted to get rid of x, since this is a positive 2, I would need this one to be a negative 2. Do you know what I mean? Because then that would make it 0. Eminem, does that make sense? So Vanessa, if I were going to get rid of y though, since this is 8, I would want that to be a negative 8. And then those would go away. You don't do both at once. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. You just pick one. Just pick one.
X.
So if you want to get rid of x, then we need to make this negative 2, right? And so the way you would make that negative 2 is you'd have to multiply the entire equation, both sides by negative 2. Because since it's an equation, if you do something to one side and you do the same thing to the other, it's still equal. Yeah.
Wait, is this another method?
No, it's elimination. But we can't just jump in and do it right away because nothing would eliminate if we add them together the way they are right
But
now.
how come? Okay, I get that. So how come now we're multiplying?
So that then we can add them.
And you got the 2 from the bottom. You got your
Yeah, because I was like, Alex said, let's get rid of x. So I'm like, well, if I want to get rid of x, then since that's positive 2, if I could make that into a negative 2, when I added them, negative 2 plus positive 2 is 0. Okay? So this equation right here, it's going to be negative 2x, good? Minus 16y, and then I'm running out of room, equals negative 12. Because I multiplied everything by negative 2.
Is that 16y?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had to write small because I put this little note over there. So it's negative 2x, right? And then minus 16y, and then minus 12. You have to multiply all three terms by negative 2.
And then you do something.
And then I'm just going to write right underneath it, this equation doesn't change. So that's going to be 2x plus 4y equals negative 3. Now when I add them, right, that's 0. Like this makes 0, which is what we wanted. So negative 12y equals negative 15, which is pretty familiar. That's what we had last time, remember? So then divide. Since we did this one last time, I'm going to go ahead and just like do it. Because we had this part last time and we did it. We simplified it. I think for this problem, elimination was easier than substitution.
Yeah, this one's a lot easier.
But it doesn't really matter. Like sometimes one will seem easy to you on one time, and the next problem, that same method might seem more difficult. Okay, so now it's the same, right? After you get this point, all you gotta do is plug that back in, and you're done.
Fill the other one?
Mm-hmm. And that's the same no matter which method you're doing. After you know, like, one of the letters equals a number, you plug that in to find the other number, write your answer, you're done. Right. It's just how you end up solving for that first letter that's different between the two.
Okay, now it makes sense.
You got it? You feel me?
Yeah, I feel
You feel me?
Yeah.